What is the saddest song you've ever heard? The night my mama died, my dad sang Elvis Can't Help Falling in Love to her in the back seat of the car on the way to the ER. She died of fully metastatized pancreatic cancer 18 days after diagnosis. Bonnie Raitt I Can't Make You Love Me. Willie Nelson's rendition of Just Breathe. My 10-year-old sang Remember Me from Coco at my father's funeral. The end of that movie was already an onion cutter, but now Sugar Skulls make me ugly cry. Vincent by Don McLean. When She Loved Me from Toy Story 2. He Stopped Loving Her Today George Jones. This came on the radio the other day at home. Couldn't stop the tears, the song just got me right in the feels. Nutshell Alice in Chains. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. A beautiful song telling the true tale of the ship that went down in Lake Superior costing 29 men their lives. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? Elephant by Jason Isbell would have to be my top pick. The Night We Met Lord Huron. 4th of July Sufjan Stevens. Casimir Pulaski Day by Sufjan Stevens is a heart-wrencher. Hello in There by John Prine. Instant tears. My eyes are welling up even thinking about it. I'm Not Gonna Miss You Glenn Campbell last song. He had Alzheimer's and recorded it when he still knew what was going on. Danny Boy. Before you laugh, listen to the damn song. It's not what you think it is, it's all about loss, separation, and death. Watch the YouTube of Sinead singing it a cappella live on television. If you don't get a bit teary-eyed, you're not a fully equipped human. LOL. Besides, the melody and harmony are exquisite, simple and moving. Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel is quite emotional to listen to. Real Death by Mount Eerie. Black Star Bowie. Whiskey Lullaby. As I take a shot I write this. If you or a loved one feels suicidal, please get help. I can't get my former fiancé back, but I can help spread awareness. I know it's over, the Smiths. I know it's over and it never really began, but in my heart it was so real, and you even spoke to me and said, if you're so funny then why are you on your own tonight? And if you're so clever then why are you on your own tonight? If you're so very entertaining then why are you on your own tonight? If you're so very good looking why do you sleep alone tonight? I know. 'Cause tonight is just like any other night, that's why you're on your own tonight, with your triumphs and your charms while they're in each other's arms. Concrete Angel by Martina McBride. It's totally heartbreaking. Also, the music video always brings a tear or two to my eyes. Moonlight Sonata. It is sadness made into sound. I Will Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie. Really can't listen to it without full-on sobbing. Father and Son by Cat Stevens has always hit me right in the feels. Strange Fruit. The Living Years Mike and the Mechanics Lost Control Anathema. Edit another worthy mention down in a hole alive in chains. I Am So Sad. I Am So Very, Very Sad. Crash and the Boys. As a serviceman, some service during wartime but no combat or anything. Taps, heard many times in my life but 2 times were pretty rough. Once was for a soldier who was still active duty and once was for my stepdad. Jeff Buckley Lover You Should Have Come Over. Cats in the Cradle Harry Chapin. The Drugs Don't Work the Verve. The Blower's Daughter by Damien Rice. I can't actually listen to it anymore. Mad World. Little Talks by Of Monsters and Men. My husband of 35 years was just diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer, and that song just fills me with so much dread. Needle in the Hay. Elliott Smith. Honestly, I'm surprised it's not already posted. The 4th of July by Sufjan Stevens. Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt. How to Disappear completely. Last Flowers videotape. True Love Waits motion picture soundtrack. Radiohead. Vincent by Don McLean, especially the line "I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you." Breaks my heart, that line. Hero of War by Rise Against. It crushes me. Whiskey Lullaby. Fire and Rain by James Taylor. My dad just died unexpectedly and that song came on the radio, and the lyrics hit me in a way I cannot explain. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Leaves from the vine falling so slow like fragile tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy comes marching home, brave soldier boy come marching home. I'll Be Home for Christmas, which isn't about someone going home. It's about someone wishing he were going home for Christmas. 2 by The Antlers. Behind Blue Eyes and My Immortal. True to the lyrics, you get the feels and you can totally relate your life to it. I didn't see it on here, but 7 Spanish Angels by Ray Charles and Willie Nelson. Numb, Linkin Park. Combine it with the music video and you have me bawling. R.I.P. Chester. Ocean Soul, Nightwish. Erase Me, Elysian Tourniquet, Evanescence. Somewhere Over the Rainbow ukulele version. Woman's Work. Kate Bush. One More Try. George Michael. Eric Clapton. Tears in Heaven. Alone Again. Naturally. Gilbert O'Sullivan. Sam Stone by John Prine. Adam's Song. Blink 182. Don't Take the Girl by Tim McGraw. Mozart's Requiem Mass. Both of mine were from Linkin Park. My December and One More Light. I used to sing You Are My Sunshine to my son when he was very small, and his mom and I were going through an ugly custody battle. It made me cry then, and it makes me cry now. It probably always will. It Makes No Difference, the band. And the sun don't shine anymore, and the rain falls down at my door. Another Auld Lang Syne. Queen Who Wants to Live Forever. Whiskey Lullaby. Brad Paisley. Unsteady by the Ex-Ambassadors. I always cry listening to it. MASH theme song. Carrying Your Love with Me. George Strait. Always liked this song growing up, but it didn't mean much beyond that to me until I heard it the day I moved states away from my childhood home. My mama had passed the year before, and my dad was in the passenger seat singing the whole song with tears in his eyes. Now I can't hear it without singing along and sobbing, especially since my dad passed. What Sarah Said, Death Cab. Dance with My Father. Luther Vandross. Casimir Pulaski Days. Sufjan Stevens. Goldenrod and the 4H Stone. The Things I Brought You When I Found Out You Had Cancer of the Bone. I'll Follow You Into the Dark. Death Cab for Cutie. The Funeral Band of Horses. Both will be played at my funeral. Say Something by Great Big World. Last Kiss by J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers, or the cover by Pearl Jam. River of Deceit by Mad Season. Piano Man Can Still Make Me Cry. Nothing Compares to You has drawn tears from my cold, desiccated eyes multiple times. If I Could Only Fly. Blaze Foley. After the Scripture. Manchester Orchestra. Hurt. 9 Inch Nails. Valentine's Day. Steve Earle. Fields of Gold is quite sad. Reminds me of my childhood I'll never get back. Time in a Bottle. Jim Croce. You Are the Dark by Joseph Arthur. Also on the playlist The Lengths. Black Keys. Transatlanticism. Death Cab for Cutie. Brick. Ben Folds. 5 Guess I'm Doing Fine and Lost Cause. Beck. Fix You. Coldplay. Nutshell. Alice in Chains. The Entire. Iron Wine. LBUM. Creek. Drank the Cradle and the Such Great Heights cover. Hello by Evanescence. I shouldn't have opened this thread. Ridiculous, I know, but total eclipse of the heart. 3 months after my husband died, went with my mom and dad and daughter to the garden center, decent coffee and cake. Dad and mom buy odds and sods for the garden. I walked out to have a smoke. This was the music. Once upon a time I was falling in love, now I'm only falling apart. I cried my eyes out. Luckily for most people I hid in the gazebo next to the water features. 3 years now, but that song will still turn me. Dance with my father again. Chris Cornell's cover of Nothing Compares to You. My girlfriends of 5, almost 6 years, just left me 3 weeks ago. Had heard this song a bunch of times, but it randomly came on last night as I was listening to music. Killed me. Elliott Smith. I didn't understand. Not the entire song, but the song If I Die Young by the band Perry has a lyric that goes, funny when you're dead how people start listening. That particular line makes me sad. Stop This Train by John Mayer kills me. Dance with the Devil. Immortal technique. Honestly, if you haven't heard it, keep it that way. Suffer Little Children by the Smiths. Pretty damn melancholy. About the killer who killed kids in Manchester. Over the moors, take me to the moors, dig a shallow grave, and then lay me down. Leslie, and in your pretty white dress, oh John, you'll never be a man, and you'll never see your home again. The End of the World by Skeeter Davis. Tommy's song Grayscale Fever. Dream Movements. Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. Rather surprised this isn't on the top yet. Once you know the story, you realize it's not a love song but a goodbye song to his 4-year-old son Connor, who fell out of an open bedroom window of their apartment in New York on the 53rd floor of the building. This is why he refuses to sing it live except on very rare occasions, as he can barely make it through the song himself. Monsters by James Blunt. Old Shep. Elvis. In the Ghetto comes close by That's Elvis too. Last Words by Steve Earle. He did a full album where he covered his late son's Justin Townes Earle songs. Then finally at the very end of the album you have Last Words, a song where Steve sings about the last phone call he ever had with his son, who he was estranged from for most of his life due to his son's substance abuse issues. Mother. Pink Floyd. You can tell that he got fucked up by their relationship along with Pink Floyd musical sound. Band of Horses. The Funeral. Daddy by Korn. Something by Bright Eyes. Probably. Little Green by Joni Mitchell or Never Is a Promise by Fiona